Resurrection, but I'm pretty sure that's the band with the female singer that like got on stage and like pissed on a dude in the audience. I don't know if you guys saw that video.
No, I
I
didn't.
saw someone
I
mention
heard
that
about it.
somewhere.
It's fucking insane. It's like insane.
I bet it
I,
is. But we haven't gotten to
yeah.
Resurrections yet, Todd. If you're tuning in just now, or this just popped up in your podcast feed, we are going to talk about Matrix, Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolution, and in the subsequent episode following this, Matrix Resurrections. Matrix Resurrection? No S?
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I'm pretty sure they added an S.
Wait, really?
I think when it popped up, it said Resurrection, and then an S like came in.
Okay, all right. So there you
He
go.
missed the memo. I was like, "Oh, we're doing this. We're doing this, guys."
The movie is called Resurrections.
All right, it's
so-
called Resurrections. Perfect. So
Matrix Erections.
Yeah, Matrix Erections. We're going to talk about the first three movies first, and we'll get into the fourth movie. So if you don't want anything about the Matrix spoiled for you, or haven't watched the Matrix, or whatever it may be, this is your chance, your last chance. From this point forward, we're talking about all Matrix all the time. So pause this, play it another time, skip it for now, whatever you may be. This is your last chance. Before we even get into that, though, I have to say this month is probably the most movies I think maybe I have ever watched in 1 month. Like, I watched all four Matrix movies. I watched the fourth Matrix movie twice in 1 week, and I watched 8-Bit Christmas, Muppets Christmas Carol, and a bunch of other movies unwillingly just on because Jen was watching holiday movies. But I feel like there was something else I watched. Oh, Don't Look Up. I watched all of this shit like in a matter of a couple of weeks.
You're a movie guy now.
I texted Todd. I was so drunk last night. I texted Todd. I go, yo, I'm such a big fucking movie guy now. He's like, why? What are you watching? Don't Look Up. But movie wasn't bad.
How was 8-Bit Christmas?
I will say, surprisingly, it was not bad. Like I would probably watch that movie again maybe in another Christmas. Like I would probably watch it again. My only gripes with the movie were, besides the fact that I don't really particularly care too much for MPH outside of How I Met Your Mother. I actually did enjoy him in Resurrections, but we'll get to that. But yeah, it was a good movie. I'd watch it again. I like laughed at it genuinely. Like I thought it had some funny moments. I thought it told a good story. My biggest gripe with it was probably, besides again him, because I think his character's kind of annoying in that movie. I meant to look it up to see why there was no like the only Nintendo games that they really reference in it are Paperboy, Joust, Rampage, and like maybe one or two other games. And I thought it was weird that they didn't really have like more staple Nintendo games. And I'm wondering if that was just like they couldn't get Nintendo to be like, sure. Or if they had to like pay for that, which I feel like you don't have to pay for that. That's more of just like you need them to say that's fine. They mentioned Super Mario once by name, but anyways, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. Anyways, welcome everyone to the Pass Control Podcast, a show where a couple of best friends talk about the latest video games and nerd culture. Sometimes we have guests. Sometimes we talk about Neil Patrick Harris too much. Each and every week we have a new episode for you. And I haven't fucked up the intro in a long time. I just fucked up the intro. Anyways, we have a new episode for you each and every week. As always, I'm your host, Brennan Groom, and joining me on this lovely, don't know what day of the week it is, evening. Is it Tuesday? What is today?
It's Monday.
Today is Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday. Joining me is the anime senpai himself. They call him Mai Tai Mike for a reason. Mr. Michael Lazier. Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I wonder what that reason is. Brendan is still drunk from yesterday.
Probably. I woke up confused. I thought I bought Pokemon cards. I don't know. Also joining us is the Fortnite father, Mr. Todd William Gary. It's not his middle name.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, shit. Wait, how did I do that? What the fuck?
I don't know.
I don't
When you said, I forgot my middle name for a second. When you said it, I was like, oh wait, yeah.
Did I really just, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, I am.
Anyways, Todd, how are you doing tonight?
You know what Neil Patrick Harris's best movie is?
I don't know.
Harold and Kumar.
I thought you would say that. I thought you would say it.
Dom gave a very disapproving noise.
Wait, what?
No,
Gone
Dom
Girl?
thinks it's gone.
Huh?
Gone Girl?
No.
Is that what you said, Mike? Gone Girl?
That's what I said. I haven't seen it, but I know he's there.
Was he in Gone Girl?
Yeah, he's like the creepy guy. The other creepy guy.
No, Dr. Horrible is probably Neil Patrick Harris's best.
Oh
movie.
yeah, no, that's fair.
I don't even
I
know what
should
Dr.
rewatch
Horrible
that.
is.
You're a
It
fake
was a
MPH
musical
fan.
with him and Felicia Day and what's his face from
can't remember.
Nathan Fillion.
I think it's
I
on
wouldn't even-
Netflix. I think.
I wouldn't even watch that based off of just Felicia Day being in it.
Anyways,
Okay. It was directed by Joss Whedon.
Oh, fuck Joss Whedon, too.
did you just call him Joss Whedon, Mike?
I did forget his name. I forgot his name in the middle of it.
It's fine.
I got to the W and I was like, "What is his name again?"
William.
He got so blacklisted from Hollywood that I just forgot. I forgot him.
What if the next time I introduce Todd, I'm like Todd, and then I said his social security number, Gary? Like what? Like, how did you know that? Well, I don't know. And then rounding us out this evening is the Disney daddy, Dominic Forty, wearing his fucking shining, shimmering Toy Story light up sweater. How are you doing, Dom?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, you're welcome. Anyways, like I said, we're gonna talk about the Matrix. So if you don't want spoilies for the Matrix, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, sorry, this movie is 20 years old.
I mean,
The first one 20 years
listen, Mike, it was basically new to me. I mean, 2 and 3, I definitely had never seen before. We'll just say that off the bat.
If you haven't seen the Matrix movies, you should wake up.
Got him.
old.
I will say, and I think I probably have said this to the three of you off the podcast. I'm actively mad at myself that I never rewatched The Matrix as an adult because, like, the Matrix, the first movie, is probably like in my top 5 easy. Like that movie fucking blew me away.
It was a fantastic film.
It was very, very fucking good. I'm mad that it took the fucking 4th movie for anyone to suggest watching these movies. We're watching fucking Gummo over here, and we could be watching The
I feel
Matrix.
like I just assumed everyone watched The Matrix at this
You
point.
can't, you listen. At this point, you can assume I have seen Country Bears and nothing else. That's what you can assume.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
We're here for good film. This is a good film club. But before we get into The Matrix, which released in 1999, which when I looked up that, I mean, obviously we knew that because 20 years or whatever, but like the fact that this is a 1999 movie, like what other movies were coming out in 1999? Like big, like blockbuster films.
Was X-Men 1999?
X-Men was 2000, 2001. The big budget of 1999 was The Phantom Menace, Your Boy.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
shit.
Was Blade 1999?
Blade was 98,
No.
I think.
Cruel Intentions, She's All That, Magnolia, Big Daddy, Sleepy Hollow, American Pie, Boondock Saints, Varsity Blues. Nothing like really big. Like that was pretty much
I mean,
like
Todd,
the big.
he did just say Phantom Menace, which I would
Phantom
argue
Menace,
is probably the biggest movie that released that year. I guess
I
besides
don't
the
even
Matrix.
know what that is.
The Mummy?
Oh,
Ooh,
shit.
Did The Mummy do well when it came out?
The
Yeah,
World Is Not
for sure.
Enough.
October Sky with friend of the show, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea, Sixth Sense.
Is that the one where
Wild-
is that the one where Nick Fury gets eaten by a shark? Is that what Deep Blue Sea is?
Yeah. Stuart Little.
Fight
Stuart
Club.
Little.
Ravenous, a great movie.
Anyways, pulling this back on track because we got a schedule to
His
keep.
first movie. Inspector Gadget.
Who?
With
With
Matthew-
Matthew Broderick.
I was gonna say who played Inspector Gadget. I knew who it was. I couldn't
no
think of
clue.
it.
Muppets from Space.
I don't know if I ever seen Muppets from Space.
Baby
Yeah, Dog Years
Geniuses.
Wild Wild West.
Ooh. I was watching that this morning.
Mike was fucking having a 20th anniversary week over here.
Xenon Girl of the 21st Century.
No, don't be bringing these Zoog
Venus and
movies.
Venus.
Don't bring these fucking Zoog movies into this.
Ooh, The Iron Giant.
I still haven't seen that.
Oh, I almost want to pick that one as my next
It
pick.
is a good
That's
movie.
a good movie.
With
Toy
a
Story 2 and Tarzan were Disney that year.
interesting. Okay, yeah. So I mean, there were still there were good movies coming out.
There were some bangers.
But I
There were
feel
some
like I mean, I don't know. You guys would probably be a better gauge of this than me since I don't watch movies. But I feel like did The Matrix like kind of change the landscape of like science fiction films at the time. I feel like this was a very, very different movie compared to what has been coming out prior. No,
I don't think Blade would have had that weird nightclub scene in it if it wasn't for The Matrix.
I don't even
Blade
think
came out
I don't know if
before.
I've ever seen Blade.
Are we
Yeah, I
sure
think
about
Blade
that?
came out. Yeah, I'll look right
I'm
now,
looking
but
it up. I'm pretty sure Blade came out in '98.
The Matrix came out in March 31st, 1999. While you guys are looking that up, with a budget
Blade,
of
98.
98. Okay, with a budget of 63 mil.
That's amazing, actually.
What do you think this worldwide box office closed at? Any guesses?
500 million.
I don't know. Did it get a re-release?
According to Box Office Mojo, I don't see a re-release here.
I don't think I had a re-release. I would say probably 200 or 250.
Todd's saying 5, Mike's saying 250. Dom?
I don't know. It's tough. What was the budget? 60?
63.
I'm gonna go 300.
Okay, all right.
5 times.
Closing with worldwide box office at 463.5 mil. The Matrix was a fucking success, if I've ever seen one. So, I mean, I guess we can just kind of get right into it. This was coming from the Wachowskis, who were previously, before The Matrix. Where's my tab here? I think I just closed out of it. I definitely just closed out of it. Previously, they had written and directed such films as Bound, which Todd referenced, and Assassins, which are 2 movies I have no idea what they are.
Wait, Assassins? Is Assassins? That's not the one with Sylvester Stallone, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I fucking loved that movie. Growing like, that's crazy that they made that movie. They're basically 2 like assassins just going after each other the whole movie. But I thought it was wicked entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Wachowskis, IMDb or films and stuff they've worked on, there's other stuff outside of The Matrix that I've seen, or other things that other people I'm sure enjoy a lot. V for Vendetta.
What Brendan means is that he saw fucking Speed Racer.
Yes, facts. And Speed Racer fucking slaps. That
People-
movie is
people
so
swear
good.
by that movie.
That movie's
People swear by it.
fantastic. That movie is
good.
so fucking good. Like that movie did not have any business being as good as that movie was. Like, I don't give a fuck about Speed Racer, but that movie is so good. I don't know if it holds up still, but it was fucking good.
And it had that guy from Lost in it. I forget his name.
Which one? I don't remember.
I think he's from Lost.
Charlie,
Matthew Fox?
Matthew Fox, yeah. The main guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, he's not Speed Racer. He's
not Speed Racer,
Racer
he's
X.
X. He's
Oh,
he's the
yeah.
younger brother.
Yeah.
John Goodman.
Is Hugo Weaving in Speed Racer?
I don't think so, but he is in.
I was just curious
Jupiter.
if he was in all of their movies.
He's in the one with Tom Hanks.
Is he in all of their movies?
Atlas and Jupiter Ascending.
Atlas.
He's not in
Is he
Speed
in?
Racer.
Is he in V for Vendetta?
He is.
There's
Yes.
the voice.
I meant to look up a video of Hugo Weaving talking outside of a movie. Does he talk like he talks in the like? I'm so. What is the?
so
What is he? What?
no,
What?
yeah.
What?
So funny story that I read about Hugo Weaving yesterday. It has nothing to do with the Matrix, but it's Hugo Weaving's story. Apparently, when they approached him to do Transformers, he wanted nothing to do with it. But they were like, "Yeah, we really want you to do it, so we'll work around you." He did the entire thing from like his apartment via Skype. He never met anybody on the film. He didn't know what the movie was about at all. He recorded his lines and never read the script.
Every
That
interview
is
he's in, he's like
amazing.
this.
Yeah.
Just with the big
I mean,
bug eyes. Left.
really, to me, all he ever was Elrond. Like that was like what he was to me. Like I knew he was in the Matrix movies, but I never really had seen or cared for the Matrix. I mean, I would have seen. This means I would have seen the first Matrix probably in 1999, and then I probably never watched it ever again. So like that's my toe in the water with the Matrix. If I had ever seen Reloaded or Resurrect or Revolution, it was on fucking TNT and it was just on in the background or something. There was no way I sat down and watched those movies because
I can promise you I never watched Revolutions before the other day.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
So good. Anyway,
so yeah. So the Wachowskis, you know, they have their favorites. They have some fan favorites out there. There are people that love these movies. I've never seen V for Vendetta either. I'm sure I would like that movie.
It was good when I saw it, at least.
Oh, you don't think it holds up?
No, I think it will.
I don't know.
There's not much action in it. It's more of like just a straight up like.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't remember how close it holds to the graphic novel.
Listen,
I remember just wanting like action scenes, and then there was like one action scene at the very end of the movie. Yeah. That was it. Like I was like, what? You know?
I think it's drastically different from the graphic novel in the sense that I think V is a lot more morally ambiguous in the graphic. I don't think I finished reading it. I think I started. I don't think I ever finished it.
I mean, you said it's not action heavy. Especially in Matrix 1, I actually like the scene. Like, I kind of prefer the acting and dialogue scenes more to the action sequences. I cannot say that for 2 and 3 at all. And I can definitely say that about 4, but we'll get to 4 later. But I also really like the action in 1. 1 is actually maybe a masterpiece. Like, I might say that is a masterpiece. So,
yeah, I don't think you'll hear a disagreement.
When it comes to the Matrix,
or at least from us,
when it comes to the Matrix releasing in 1999, I think it's important. We talked about the movies that came around that time to kind of see where the video game industry is at that time. So in 1999, we're kind of in this transitional phase between the Saturn, PlayStation, N64 era into Dreamcast, PS2, Xbox, GameCube era. And if you look at 1999 in particular, some of the key big titles coming out that year, a Dom banger, Donkey Kong 64, Final Fantasy 9, Silent Hill, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, fucking classic game, Resident Evil 3, Age of Empires 2, Grand Theft Auto 2, Driver, which was like the most confusing game ever because I don't think anyone knew how to pronounce slalom and what it was.
What a slalom is.
You couldn't look it up online, nothing about that. You could not get past the tutorial of Driver because you did not know what that was. Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. I don't think I've ever played that Tomb Raider game. Siphon Filter. Good. Todd loves that game. I guess that's kind of it for at least games that came out that year. I'm looking at for like, you know, kind of the bigger dogs. Crazy Taxi. I mean, classic. Pokemon Snap. What's Half-Life Opposing Forces, Todd? Is that just like some spin-off thing?
Yeah, it's good. I've never heard of it. It's crazy that they haven't made another Siphon Filter game in like next gen. I feel like that could be a very successful IP for fucking Sony.
I mean, it could. This is a whole conversation for a different podcast, but I will say PlayStation's like kind of outward focus right now seems to be, from what they've said in interviews, we're going to focus on being this like, oh, people love The Last of Us. Okay, we're going to make Last of Us. People love God of War. We're going to make more. Like, they're going to just focus on like the big blockbuster things and kind of forget about everything else. Jet Force Gemini, Super Smash Brothers, the first game, Mario Party 2, Pokemon Gold and Silver, bangers. Those are some of the big boys. So, you know, definitely some classic games coming around in that time. We talked about the movies there, but let's just get right into the film itself. So The Matrix, where did that go? That's the wrong thing.
Mr. Anderson.
I had a quick summary. So I was wrong at most parts of what I suggested The Matrix was about.
Right. Yep.
But I will say I still think I had a little bit of right in there. A little bit. A tiny bit. So who wants
you remembered scenes.
That's true. I remembered scenes. That's about it. Who wants to like kind of get into the thick of it? Who wants to kick us off with how you feel of revisiting The Matrix? Because I'm the only person who has not seen The Matrix up until, 2 weeks ago. Everyone else had seen it at least once at some point in their life. So how has The Matrix aged for you folks?
Like a fine wine.
Like, yeah.
I still love like the cinematography of like the the bullets falling from the helicopter and like, you know, from the sky when they're rescuing Morpheus. That whole scene is just so fucking good. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just really well done. It not to jump to like Resurrection, but I think like what makes the first Matrix so good was kind of missing in Resurrections as far as like cinematography. Like I wasn't like, whoa, this is like really gorgeous looking right now.
Yeah,
or
let's
anything
save that
like
for Resurrections though.
Yeah, no.
I have more that I want to get into with that movie anyways.
Yeah.
One of the things revisiting The Matrix that I like expected going into it, I was like, all right, I got to remember that this movie came out in 1999. Like I got to remember that the special effects aren't going to be great.
They're
weren't
fucking
that
good.
bad.
No, they were good.
Man.
They weren't that bad. Yeah.
I thought
they held up pretty well. I mean, if you watch, like my brain always goes back to I was watching, like a 4K TV like preview in a Best Buy one time, and it was showing Pirates of the Caribbean, the second one, and it was showing the Kraken come up and like grabbing the ship, and you could tell that the entire scene was CG. Just watching the movie in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice that at all in The Matrix. Like, it was like really well done so that it didn't rely completely on like the special effects. It like had a good balance so that it didn't take you out of the movie, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's like how I felt too. And I'll say, like, I love Lord of the Rings, and I rewatched Lord of the Rings often, and I rewatched the whole trilogy last year, I think, or the year before.
Helm's Deep has some bad CG.
There's some stuff
100%.
that unfortunately doesn't look like it.
I'm
you know, it's
surprised.
aged kind of poorly.
I didn't think it looked bad ever, and it's like weird watching that now and being
and
like,
it's not like it's unwatchable. Like I love Lord of the Rings. I'll watch those movies. You know,
you
probably
can't
forever.
watch it in 4K.
Yeah, it really shows it when you do. But I will say, like, I mean, I kind of wouldn't hate if they just like redid the movie or touched it up so that it, like, not Matrix, but Lord of the Rings. But anyways, but yeah,
it's a Star Wars territory that you gotta hope that he doesn't fuck with it.
Yeah, but I agree with Todd. Like, as somebody who personally doesn't like action movies, like I'm not going to see, you know, X action movie.
John Wick or The Matrix.
I mean, hold on now.
Anything else with Keanu Reeves?
John Wick is a whole. I mean, but think about that. I didn't fucking watch John Wick until you guys made me watch John Wick.
You refused to watch John Wick.
Yes, but I'll tell you right now, I fucking love John Wick. But I also think that I just love Keanu Reeves now. Like, I think that's just kind of. I think that's just kind of where I'm at.
Off camera too in interviews.
Yeah,
like, this guy's the man.
I know. He
like,
just, and I mean, I did like a little bit more research on him, and it's like, I like feel for his personal life, whereas like how he lost his wife, like all this stuff. It's just like he seems like a nice person. Like, it doesn't seem like there's bad information about him out there, which is
he is a very grounded person.
Yeah,
and it's weird though because he seems more happy these days. Like he like seems like his personality is just like shining through. Where like
because he's fucking back on that blue pill bullshit.
Yeah, no, he's just like with like this because I think he knows everyone loves him at this point probably, but like he just seems like so happy. Like
yeah.
Not how I ever perceived Keanu Reeves like 20 years ago. He was never like this. Now he's like out here cracking jokes all the time, and yeah.
But to get back to the point of like not like a big action movie person, I don't care about that type of stuff. What I love about the action scenes, almost in their entirety in The Matrix, is that they are like not all of it, but like so many of the shots in those scenes are what Todd was saying. It's like it zooms out and it's like looking at like when they're going to rescue Morpheus and they're in the bottom of that building, when they're like in this big scene where they're shooting a million officers, a million agents, all these things, and there's just like guns everywhere, bullets everywhere, and like running around the walls and all this stuff. But there's like shots where it will just like pan in real close to like Neo's feet and it's just bullets hitting the ground, and I'm like, this is a way cooler scene than like me watching someone get shot with a gun. Like, and that type of stuff weaves its way in and out. I would say, if not,
it's also like the sound editing too. You hear the bullets like ping, 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 like across the. Yeah, it's just so good.
And the score is perfect too. Like, it definitely brings you into the action.
Yeah. So like I pretty much loved all of those scenes. Like, they were all so well done. In the first movie specifically, I have some issues with 2 and 3, which we can get to soon. But I mean, I feel like for me, visiting this movie really for the first time, even though I know I've seen it before, it's been fucking 20 years. Basically watching this movie for the first time, they throw so much at you, but not in like a way that's too much. I think it's like a good balance of like, here's a spoonful of some shit, swallow it, and we'll figure it out as we go along. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of social commentary, both kind of at points hitting you over the head, but also like if you want to sit back and think about things that are said in the movie and things that are done, you can kind of, whether it's there on purpose or not, you can parse out things and apply your own meaning to them, or maybe that is what the intended meaning or purpose of the scene or dialogue was. And obviously knowing like after the fact that the Wachowskis are trans, like there's a lot of that messaging and metaphors and stuff embedded in like the DNA of the Matrix without being like overtly, this is what we're saying, but like it was really there from the beginning. Which I thought was really interesting to see. Like the first time that Neo and Trinity meet, when he follows the White Rabbit to the club, I believe the dialogue is something like, you know, who are you? Oh, I'm Trinity. Oh, I thought you were a man. And her response is like, yeah, most people do, or something like. And it's just like,
most men do.
Yeah, and it's just like an interesting, like, that line could mean nothing to you, but it could also like mean everything. You know what I mean? I don't know.
You know what I will say about rewatching the first one is that, and this might, you guys probably disagree with this, I think if Hugo Weaving wasn't cast in that role, I don't know if that movie would have been as good. I don't think anyone else could have pulled off what he pulls off in that fucking movie. He's just like,
I don't know. I think there's other people, but I think it's a very small pool of people that you could have.
Mm-hmm. Weird things about the casting for this movie, and part of this I know as fact, and part of it I don't remember entirely. Number one, they wanted Will Smith as Neo. That was a thing. They wanted Will Smith as Neo. He passed.
Yeah, Will Smith has fucked up his whole life with choosing roles and turning roles down. It's so weird.
Now, this is the part that I don't recall. I'm not 100% sure on, but I think what they wanted was Will Smith as Neo, and I think they wanted Sean Connery as Morpheus.
Morpheus, weird.
Sean Connery, I believe, also passed on The Matrix because he didn't get it, and then he saw how well that movie did. He's like, maybe I just don't know how to pick roles anymore. So the next time someone came to him with like a weird thing, he's like, all right, fine, I'll do it.
Extraordinary Gentleman.
Yeah.
I remember that story.
And then he's just like, you know what? Forget it. I quit.
Yep. I do remember that story.
I will say,
I'm sure a lot of people didn't understand this script. Imagine reading that script and being an actor and being like, how do you, like, this ain't gonna work. Like, you're like, this ain't on paper, like this does barely work. So how is this gonna work?
It's
on
so
film?
weird because it seems so not simple, but it seems so straightforward to me. Like, I'm just on board. Like, okay, this whole thing is a simulation. We're trying to break down the robots that control us.
It's just like looking at the movies that came out, the action movies, like nothing. It's all like straightforward, like guns and shooting, shooty, bang, bang.
And I agree with you there, but I also think that like I think that's kind of what is magical about the first Matrix is that like it does a good job of world building and explaining what's going on, but it also doesn't like hold your hand too much. It lets you think and it lets you kind of decipher certain scenes and certain things. And I mean, I'm kind of really into just the idea of what the movies, like that universe in its totality is like trying to discuss, which is like being controlled by the world and like all of these other factors and like what is representing certain things and stuff like that. And I kind of just like we can get into 2 and 3 shortly, but like I'm so sad that 2 and 3 for me didn't kind of bring that same thing. 2 did a little bit, especially with the architect. 2 is the architect.
Yeah.
But you know, Morpheus, fucking honestly, Neo, Morpheus, Trinity, and Mistress Agent Smith are like iconic. Like these 4 characters are so good. I will say this shows how much I don't watch movies and how dumb I am. I know exactly who Lawrence Fishburne is. I did not know he played Morpheus. When Morpheus was on screen for the first time, I looked at Jen and I was like, did this guy ever get more roles? Like, he's really good. And she's like, Lawrence Fishburne? I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Yes, he did. He did get more roles.
Cowboy Curtis.
Yes.
It's true. This Cowboy Curtis. I could have sworn Brendan would have immediately been like, oh, it's a guy from Ant-Man the Wasp.
Which guy?
Wait,
Oh yeah,
Ant-Man and the Wasp? I don't even remember him.
It was Giant Man.
he was Giant Man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's also in John Wick. I know who Lawrence Fishburne is. Like, he's in a lot of things. I know who he is.
I was just expecting Brendan to have some weird thing. That's why I said, "Is that Cowboy Curtis?"
But
Weren't
like
you the dad from Boys in the Hood?
I loved there's so much about that movie I loved all the scenes with him and Morpheus are so good. Like, I love when they're in that white room and he's explaining things to him. I love when they're like in the dojo fighting. Like, yeah. Oh my god. And again, because I didn't care or pay attention to the Matrix at the time, Todd then told me this was true. When he says when they're downloading like new techniques and skills and like fighting abilities, all these things into him, and he like opens his eyes, and he goes, "I know kung fu." I looked at Jen. I was like, "What the fuck is this dialogue? Like, this doesn't help this doesn't help the people that say Keanu can't act with this type of dialogue." But Todd said that at the time was like, "I'll be back." Like that, it was iconic.
Yeah, like I know Kung Fu was like insane.
I know Kung Fu is like, yeah, it's a big line. That's why
I didn't know
back
that
in Resurrections.
No, I get that part, but I didn't know that. I had no idea that like was a cultural touchstone that I was not like. Yeah, I didn't have.
I remember like not knowing much. Like when I saw the original Matrix, I saw a trailer. But I remember, I'm like, the more I was watching, I'm like, what am I watching? This is so good, but like, what is this? And then they got to that dojo scene, and I'm like, this movie's fucking incredible. Yeah. And it just gets better from there on.
It really does just continue to get better. I will say the weakest part of all 3 of these movies, in my opinion, is when they are not in the Matrix. I hate
most of the third movie.
I hate the ship. I hate the ship, and I hate Zion. Zion is so bad. Everything about Zion is fucking bad.
Wait, that rave? You didn't like the rave?
Well, rave is fine, I guess. But like, oh my god, so many of the fight scenes in this movie are so fucking good. I love Oracle. Like, so with Oracle, I was trying to think about this. And like I didn't look into like people's thoughts on any of these 4 movies. Like, I didn't read reviews or like go into any of that stuff because I wanted to kind of just keep myself in this mist of I'm basically new to the Matrix. So oh yeah, Cypher too. I thought it was funny. Was from
Lenny.
Memento. Yeah,
I know. We brought it up.
Lenny.
Wait, today already?
No, we brought it up
in the Memento
into this. Yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the Memento episode, you had said you wanted to do the Matrix, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna see Lenny again."
Okay.
I thought so. Just real quick, because you brought up Lenny. I mean, Cypher. Tank and Dozer are such good characters. It is a shame that actor lost his marbles.
Yep.
Because I really wish that Dozer had came back.
Doesn't Dozer die? Or Dozer's the one that puts them into the Matrix?
Cypher kills one of them. I forget. Cypher kills
He tries to kill both.
He kills Tank. Dozer gets knocked out, and then Dozer wakes back up.
And kills Cypher, yeah.
And then in the second movie, he's just dead.
Yep, R.I.P.
So, one of the things about Oracle...
That's why we get Link.
Yes. One of the things about Oracle in this movie that it like made me think about Oracle for the rest of the films after this is she tells Neo that he is not the one. Neo also thinks he is not the one. Trinity thinks he's the one. Morpheus thinks he's the one. No, I don't think anyone else on the Nebuchadnezzar believes that he is the one.
I think they all like have
this movie. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, because Mouse wants him to be the one too, right? Doesn't he straight
he
up
wants
say,
him to be the one, but I don't know if he believes it.
Like when they're fighting.
I think he believes in Morpheus.
Yes, yeah. So in that same scene, Oracle says, "Don't worry about the vase." And then, what do you mean? And then he breaks the vase. So I'm the whole time trying to think, is the reason why Oracle tells him he's not the one is because
Which she doesn't.
Huh?
She said something along the lines of like, you know the answer, and then Neo says, "I'm not the one," and then she just kind of confirms what Neo had suspected about himself. I don't think she outright says, "You're not the one." I think Neo says it first, and she just agrees with him.
And your line of questioning right now seems like it's going to go exactly to something that Morpheus says at the end of the first Matrix movie, which is, "She told you what you needed to know. You needed to think that you weren't the one so that you would make the choice."
He doesn't say that outright, does he?
He says something almost exactly.
I think he says.
He definitely says, "She said exactly what you needed to hear."
Yes, yeah. She said what you needed to hear. So my line of thought is like, because she also says, "What's really gonna bake your noodle is if I didn't tell you about the vase, would you still have broken it?" So I feel like that whole thing is like, okay, if I tell you you're the one, you're not gonna do what you need to do to be the one.
You have to make the choice for yourself.
Okay. Fuck, it's so good. It's just so fucking good. Anything else about the first Matrix before we move on to 2 and 3?
Let's see.
I was rewatching. I remember Smith being like the main agent. I didn't realize how little of the other agents we got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't even get names for them, do we?
No,
I don't think we do.
I think we do. I think we do, but like offhand, like it's not important.
I don't remember them saying the names. I'm sure they had names in the credits. I don't know if anyone ever addressed them as Agent Thompson. Although I do think one of them is Agent Thompson.
Yeah.
The use of color in this movie is so good too. The first Matrix.
That's something I wanted to get to in Resurrections too.
Yeah.
And another scene, just going back to this, and the last thing I have to say is like the scene when Trinity is on the rope and hits the glass, and like that, it's that whole scene just looks so in the explosion, like it just
all of the explosion scenes are so good when they slow it down and you literally see like the explosion, like the ripples.
Yeah.
I mean, you also get the iconic Trinity kick, the bullet time, dodging of the bullets.
Does she do the Trinity kick in the first movie too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's when she does it. She does it in every movie but the fourth movie, I believe. I don't think they ever do it in the fourth movie. But so many of the fight scenes are good. Like I love when Neo at the end of the movie is running from the agents, because like it's really like a like you kind of don't like. Is Neo gonna die in this first movie? I mean, knowing that they've made fucking 4 movies, he's not gonna die. I mean, at the time, maybe you have no idea. That's true. But he, like, you kind of, like, it's still suspenseful because you don't really know what the fuck is happening. And when you get into he's trying to get out of the Matrix, he's trying to get to the phone, he's trying to get out of there, and he gets to the apartment, and Mr. Smith is fucking waiting for him and just shoots him fucking 20 times in the chest, and he dies for a little bit. It's like, that scene is so fucking good. And then when he gets back up, and how he fights Agent Smith, and like, is it in this moment where he puts his arm behind his back and he's just doing one hand blocks?
Yeah.
That is
he
so
flies into the other
fucking
dude and
good.
Just makes him explode.
Yeah. Fuck, man, it's just so fucking good. How does the movie close out?
He's on the phone.
Do the payphone thing, and then he flies away, and then they play Wake Up.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, you're ended
not by the P band.
By Brad James.
Yeah. You end this movie with, in my opinion, this is a Fellowship of the Ring, where like you could watch The Matrix, never watch any of the other movies, and be, I think, content with the story that is told. I think you could walk away and be like, oh, that was a complete thing that, yes, ties into other stuff later, but you could watch this and be happy, be satisfied, and I think really enjoy it without ever watching more.
Yeah, I would say it's funny to me because I'm thinking about it more where it's very similar to other movies that I think I really like, because I know I love The Matrix. For a period of time, and maybe even now, if someone were to say, "Hey, Michael, what's your favorite movie?" I would probably say The Matrix. But it's similar to, I would say, another movie I really like, which is Back to the Future, where those first two films, both Matrix and Back to the Future, are very good self-contained films that end in a way where, like, yeah, I guess you could tell more stories, but you don't have to see more stories. You could just watch those movies and just be happy with it.
Wait, Brendan, have you ever seen Back to the Future? Off topic.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, I will mention this here too, just because
I think Bill and Ted might be my next pick, by the way.
Never seen it. I've never seen it.
Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
Now I got to pick Bogus Journey because that's like one of my favorite movies ever. Like,
no, we're fucking around. We're doing trilogies for picks now. I'll do all three.
Right.
That's a big ask, but I mean, yeah, we could maybe do that. So I will mention it here because it's going to become like relevant throughout the entire series. Is that the connection between Neo and Trinity is established as very important in this film, and that continues to be, you know, a main core focus of.
She basically brings him back to life when he gets shot.
Yes. Yeah. I will say, and we actually, without saying anything here, in case you haven't watched Resurrections yet, and I'll talk more about it when we get to Resurrections, but there are a lot of parallels between this movie and Resurrections. I'm sure on purpose. It's not necessarily The Force Awakens to me, but it is like. It's not The Force Awakens, but it's like a similar type of. I wouldn't even call it a reboot.
I think Resurrections is more Last Jedi than Force Awakens.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get there. So, you know,
the only other thing that I would say about the first Matrix movie, which obviously is part of the entire thing, is that there are a lot of religious undertones.
Yes.
And I think the Neo and Trinity connection is like part of that. So
okay, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of literature out there that is like diving into all of these themes, motifs, you know, analogies, anything that is, you know, relatively hinted at in whether it to be the dialogue or this actual scenes or whatever it may be. That, you know, our people have been probably diving into this stuff for fucking 20 years. I will say too, another thing, again, because it's hard to not notice the gender politics of these movies, knowing that the creators, you know, are transitioned women. Is I think it's interesting that in the Matrix itself, when you leave the, you know, quote unquote real world, Zion, the ship, whatever it is, and go into the Matrix, you are represented by how you either feel or want to see yourself. So like for most of the characters, it's like, okay, cool, I'm in like a dope fucking leather outfit and like I got cool sunglasses and whatever. But for some of the characters, it is also a name change. And that is the case with Neo, who for the rest of the series is known by everyone outside of the Matrix as Neo. But when he is in the Matrix, Agent Smith refuses to acknowledge him as Neo and only calls him Mr. Anderson, or in the fourth movie, Tom. I just think it's interesting. The same thing when we get to the fourth movie, the analyst also only calls him by Thomas or Tom. He will not ever call him Neo, which again is just like a little thing on the surface, as like clearly the bad people are gonna not recognize him as the quote unquote one, but it's also, I think, underlying, hey, the people who don't want to see you as who you really are, where there are people that will recognize that. I don't know. Anyways, Matrix 2, Matrix Reloaded. When I finished Matrix 1, I was so fucking happy. I immediately watched 2 right after. Like I watched 1 and then put 2 on. I was so fucking pumped. I couldn't fucking wait. I was like, give me a trilogy of this shit. Fucking load me up. I'm so excited. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. 2 is a stinker off the bat.
I do not agree with you,
Off the bat? Off the bat.
Yeah.
Does it not open with them on the Nebuchadnezzar landing in Zion? Is that not how it opens?
No.
I think it starts off with it starts off with the flash forward of Trinity jumping out of the building.
Yeah, like
and
that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That okay, yes, okay. Yeah, that's a dope fucking scene.
Then we go back, and I'm trying to remember where I think it starts off with that meeting. Did it start off with that meeting where Neo shows up, and then Agent Smith also shows up, but he just shows up and like leaves his earpiece.
Yeah, with the
and then they
Oracle
say agents are coming.
And the park you're talking about? Oh, okay.
No. I'm talking about like there's a meeting with a bunch of people that are a bunch of red pills, I guess, within the Matrix. I forget what they were talking about.
It's the meeting where Smith takes control of Bane, right?
No.
Because the reason that the Nebuchadnezzar goes to Zion is because they've received the last transmission of the Osiris.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Smith killing everybody but taking control of Bane.
6 months after the events of The Matrix, Neo and Trinity are now romantically involved. Morpheus receives a message from Captain Niobe of the Logos calling an emergency meeting of all ships of Zion. Zion has confirmed the last transmission of the Osiris. An army of Sentinels is tunneling towards Zion and will reach it within 72 hours. Commander Locke orders all ships to return to Zion to prepare for the onslaught, but Morpheus asks one ship to remain to contact the Oracle.
Oh, the Caedicus, not the Osiris.
As the Caedicus receives a message from the Oracle, one of the Caedicus' crew, Bane, encounters Smith, who reveals that his previous encounter with Neo severed his connection with the Matrix and has made him a rogue program. Smith then takes over Bane's body and uses the phone line to leave the Matrix into the real world.
I think I'm right where the Bane thing happens later on, but there's Neo fights agents at the beginning of the movie.
The Bane thing happens Revolution, right? Yeah.
No, it happens in this.
No, I think the Bane thing happens at the beginning, and then they go to Zion.
There is a scene early on where there's a bunch of people that meet up, and like someone knocks at the door, and they do like the whole.
Yeah, that happens at the beginning.
That happens at the beginning, and the guy gives
a letter or something.
He's like, give this to Neo. Give this to Neo. Tell him something's free.
Yes, okay. And it's his earpiece. Yeah.
Yes. And then other agents do show up and Neo fights them, and then there's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to Brendan or somebody, like, it was crazy to me how I must have watched those first two movies a lot. Because like I remembered a lot of the things beat for beat. I was quoting lines, this, that, and the other. Up until the end. I remember how it ended, like the very end. And I remembered how Revolutions began, but I couldn't remember exactly how things shook out.
Just like Neo, he had a vision of what was going to happen in Trinity, but he couldn't see past that certain point, Mike. You couldn't see past that point.
He couldn't see past his choice.
So okay,
couldn't see past the choice. I didn't understand.
Let me reel back my initial statement, because yes, the beginning of the movie has some dope scenes. I like the Trinity jumping out of the window, shooting in slow motion, like falling. That's like a cool scene. Him fighting the agents at the beginning is fine, but they then quickly get to Zion, and that's where this movie absolutely just fucking falls off a cliff for me. But before we even get to Zion, The Matrix Reloaded, with a budget of $150 million, opened in May of 2003. Gentlemen, what do we think this movie had a worldwide box office of?
I'm going to go to 600. I definitely had to do more than the first one, I feel like, because there was so much hype behind it after the first one. I'm going to say 650.
Okay, all right. It's possible. Mike?
I'm going to say 5.
Okay.
I'm going to say 4.
Wow, a lot of conservative takes here. Todd's going to get the closest with almost 740 million. So
they reviewed fairly well too.
Yeah. Like Matrix Reloaded is not
It gets a lot of hate. It gets lumped into Revolutions way too much.
I think that's for a good reason, because I found out after the fact, before we recorded, Mike and I were talking a little bit about 2 and 3. So they were filmed at the same time, and they both released in the same year. They came out in 2003, both movies.
6 months apart, wasn't it? Like,
yeah.
I remember when I saw Reloaded, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the third one. And then I saw the third, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Like, I will echo what Dom had said either in text message or it was when we were playing Fortnite the other night. I can't remember. But he said that after watching 3, it made him appreciate 2 more, and I can agree with that. Like, yes, 2 is definitely better than 3. Like, 3, in my opinion, is like the worst of these 4 movies. Like, 3 is bad. But like for me, I will say, like, I like the idea of Zion, and I like what happens in Zion, and then later in 4, I like what happens in IO. Like, I like the idea and concepts of those places. I just think that they are not executed well. There are boring scenes. There are dialogue I don't necessarily care for most of the time. There are characters I don't really like. I don't give a fuck about Commander Locke. Like, I understand he needs to be there for like a certain type of this like pushback on the plot and this like, you know, strife for the protagonists, but it's just everything about it is just not what I want. It's just not what I want.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't have any strong. I don't think I have any strong opinions about Zion. I think to kind of echo what you said, I do like the concept, and I believe it's probably something that they did want, the Wachowskis did want to expand upon. You know, after establishing like there is a last bastion of humanity out there trying to rebel against the machines. And we need to see that come to a head at some point. Yeah. To see, you know, humanity overcome their oppressors or whatever. So I understand why they would want to do that, and maybe just wasn't executed well. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Like,
without getting into 4 at all, I will say I feel like they were trying to do the same thing in 4 with IO, which is that movie Zion, and I think they do it better. I still just don't like it.
I think that they tried to do too much with the second 2 movies. Yeah. Well, yeah, with the second 2 movies. I think they tried to do too much. It almost seems like they had an idea of what they wanted to get done and almost ran out of time.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because you need Zion, because
yes, you do.
Otherwise, Neo's not fighting for anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Neo's not the savior of anything if there's no Zion. So Zion is necessary.
Yeah, but I also think that like I don't even think that necessarily. No, I guess in 2 and 3 he is still kind of fighting for Zion. In 4 we can get to that when we get to that, but yeah, it's definitely necessary for, you know, a myriad of reasons, because if it doesn't exist and it doesn't have that function, then almost what is even the point of leaving the Matrix if there's nothing to leave 2 or 4? So like there is a reason for it. I just think it's not really executed well. But
I don't disagree with you there. I just like, yeah, I guess it's just not executed well. You as an example, the whole idea of going to Zion and seeing the Zion scenes should be that you feel sympathetic for the people there, and you wanted to skip them. Yeah. So exactly. Obviously, they didn't do their job.
Yeah. It just. I think it was like you said. They're trying to put a lot of things into that, but they also. I think they just took too long doing it. They should have just trimmed down what they were trying to accomplish in those things.
I did like.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I did like maybe that one scene, and they were doing something with it. I don't think they got the chance to, or maybe I don't know if they really did a lot with the concept they were bringing there. When Neo spoke with that one council member about, you know, like, yeah, you know, we all kind of need, like, even though we're at war, we do kind of need each other. Yeah, we do kind of need each other. Like, we need the machines, and the machines need us. Just something to think about. But I don't know if they ever really.
Yeah, I guess that would be the thing that sparked the treaty, right? Yeah, that would be the thing that would spark Neo's idea of the treaty. It just it was weird that they introduced that idea in Reloaded and then like never really gave it to us again until the end of Revolutions.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, other important things, because, you know, this movie doesn't take mostly in Zion. It's, I would say, more of 3 is Zion, which 3 is just bad. But they go to find the, you know, Neo meets with the Oracle. they have a conversation about getting to the source of the Matrix and dealing with the architect. I don't know if she mentions the architect by the name, but
she doesn't mention the architect.
To get to the source of the Matrix, to get to the inside. I will say, wasn't a big fan of that fight scene after with Agent Smith. I think it went on way too long.
It went on for a while, but I did love that.
He fights all the clones. It's just like a million fucking Agent Smiths.
I said that.
So again, as a child rewatching these movies, I would typically pop in my DVD of Reloaded and just kind of skip to certain scenes, and that fight scene was one of them. Although looking back, number one, this is one of those things where like the CGI does age. CGI does age when I saw pretty badly, and also there's some weird things like.
You say it looked bad in 2003.
Yeah, like I didn't like it back then. I remember my biggest gripe was that like there was nothing like that in the first one, and all of a sudden I have like cartoony looking guys that were taking me out of the movie where I didn't have that issue in the first Matrix, and it's how it bothered me a lot. Like that scene has some fun elements to it, but I remember that scene just being like, I feel like I'm watching a video game right now.
They were definitely trying to top the bullet time stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they were definitely trying to top the bullet time stuff in the first one. And there was also that weird stuff where, when he would kick some of the Agent Smiths into other Agent Smiths and you would hear like bowling balls.
Yeah, that was so bizarre. I don't know why they put bowling ball sound effects. That was like, what? I thought I didn't actually hear that. I thought my brain did that. Like I had to rewind it to make sure that actually happened.
The Sean William Scott Justin Timberlake fight scene was better.
Yeah, it was shorter at least. I did watch that. I did watch that, and I did that. So I'm so confused. I watched that whole parody clip thing. That was like 9 minutes long.
Yeah, you could have watched that and skipped Reloaded.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you would miss the cool highway chase scene.
Yes.
Vis-a-vis.
And the Merovingian whatever scene, like, and like
Merovingian could have been skipped.
Yeah, it could have been.
I like some of the Merovingian stuff. I actually like the Merovingian stuff more in 3. I think 3.
I thought you were gonna say in Resurrection. I was like, shut the fuck
up. No. You could skip that too. You could skip that whole. You could pretty much skip most of that scene. But I will say the Merovingian scene in 3 is when Trinity goes and sees him with Morpheus. Right? Neo is in the train station. Yeah, that scene when we get to 3, which can be now, I guess, if we want. That scene is really good. I liked that quick action scene. Like it was a good dialogue, quick little action, and just like that, points the gun on his head. That's gonna take too long. How about you fucking do this for me or whatever? Or I don't have time for this or whatever. It's just good. But yeah,
I do love at the end of Reloaded. I do love the choice of like when he's with the architect and he's like, in this door, you have this, and in this door. And then he just you see him just fly.
Yeah, I mean, it is cool, but it's also like
the whole, it's like a tornado behind him as he's ripping through the city trying to get to it as quick as possible. And
the thing with like some of that stuff is like cool. Like we already got like major choice elements in the first Matrix, so it kind of feels like it's just kind of the same type of thing. But I guess that's also just kind of the nature of the Matrix is like it's about choice.
It's the nature of Neo.
Is choice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess she does say that Morpheus also has to make choices, but I mean, a huge part about being Neo is making choices.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Now that my brain is separating 2 and 3 more, because it was kind of all mushed together. 2 is not terrible. 2 is okay. I like 2, but like.
Yeah, now 3 is actually really good. Now,
get the fuck out of here! You're off your fucking. You're baking your noodle over there. Is that what she says? It's really gonna bake your noodle now? Okay.
What's really gonna cook your noodle is.
Is there like a fucking song that like samples that clip? Because I knew that clip from something, but I didn't know. Like I don't fucking watch The Matrix.
Me and Mike's.
One of
sophomore or junior year presentations.
Oh my god, yes. Yes, that is exactly what I'm thinking of. Yes. What a weird pull. That's where my brain went. That's what my brain makes that reference to up until now. I guess still now. I liked the Keymaker. I thought the Keymaker was cool. I liked getting to the Architect. I thought those scenes were cool. The same thing with like the chase scene. I thought that also maybe went on a little too long.
That like that motorcycle though, like that like looks CGI wise, that looks like flawless. That like
I mean, I think the twins also don't look bad. I think they don't look like them phasing.
They give so little explanation of the twins.
Yeah,
right.
They really.
I didn't realize how little explanation you get in that because I had played the video game.
Right.
So in the Matrix, they give an explanation of like what the twins are, and I was like so confused rewatching the movie. I was like, they didn't explain them at all.
Yeah.
Right. Did you guys ever play the Path of Neo game?
I didn't. I didn't play any of the games.
That game was more like what you wanted to be when playing a video game. Like it was like cool fighting, like I
liked Enter the Matrix when I played it.
I did too. I loved it.
I don't know if it would still be good now, but
I doubt it. But yeah, I enjoyed my time with it.
I don't know the answer to this question. If I was to put an original Xbox game into my Series X, will it play it?
I don't think it would do anything.
No. It depends.
Because you can buy a copy of Enter the Matrix for Xbox for $4 on eBay, and I'm like, I kind of want to buy this and put it in here and see if it works.
You play as Niobe in that game, I think, right?
And Ghost, right?
Niobe and Ghost. Fun fact: do you know who was originally cast as Niobe?
No. Hey, Storm. I forget her name. Yeah, Halle Berry. I couldn't think of her name.
I think I did know this at some point, but I don't. I'm not going to pull it out now.
I'm pretty sure it was Aaliyah.
Interesting.
Aaliyah was originally cast, and then died.
I mean, I don't necessarily particularly care for Jada Pinkett, so
she was terrible in 4.
Really, really bad.
We are going to need to put spoiler things at the beginning of this episode because we've already given out a couple
of things. Yeah, it's all
right. Yeah, I just like the it was weird. Like they brought characters in without really explaining like what they were doing there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily hate that though. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I at the very least, I think I understood it as a lot of the people in the Merovingians' employ were exiled programs that were also just sort of like they just happened to be what humans would interpret as supernatural beings. So like the one that Persephone shot was like a werewolf.
That is the case. Just it wasn't was there
never explained.
Was there enough given in the film for you to
in the film? That? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And honestly, I might only know that because I knew what happened in the game. Not even that I beat the game.
That's my point.
Just aware of what.
That's my point. Is that you needed the game for that to be explained to you?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, these two guys were just like phasing in and out of things without any explanation.
Mm-hmm. For me, the reason why I don't hate that type of stuff being in the movie without being fully explained is simply because I kind of like the idea of like, I think even at this point, we still don't, even after watching 4, I still don't think we fully know everything about the Matrix. Like we don't know what is capable within the Matrix. So I kind of like, that extra element of like, we don't know all of the limits to this place. So that type of stuff can kind of happen. But I didn't hate most of that stuff. It was pretty good. I didn't really like or care, maybe not even fully understand the purpose other than her getting them to the Keymaker of the Merovingians' wife or girlfriend or whatever.
Persephone?
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand why. Like I don't know. Am I reading too much into looking for an explanation as to why she wanted Neo to kiss him or she wouldn't like bring them there? Was it just simply because she didn't? Was it just simply because the Merovingian didn't love her? Like,
I forget.
The
Merovingian
love that like Neo and Trinity had, and she wanted to experience something like that.
Yeah.
And like obviously,
the Merovingian and Persephone are the Matrix's version of cause and effect, I believe.
Okay.
So I believe that he is supposed to be cause and she's supposed to be effect.
Cause, there's no cause.
I hate it. Yeah, I don't know. Architect, good scene. I liked it. I like the scenes in the Matrix movies where it's like making you think, it's making you dive into your own mind. You know, I enjoyed that scene. The flying.
I like how they.
Oh, go ahead.
I just like how they explained how like this isn't the first Neo. You know, like this isn't the first time this has been done. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like you're like I forget what is he like the 5th or 6th iteration or whatever. But
Yeah, I believe it's the sixth iteration.
The sixth Hokage.
Although the process has left you irrevocably human.
Vis-a-vis.
Ergo. Yeah, I don't know. It's an overall, it's a good movie. And then does it end? So after it ends with Trinity, she saves Trinity, and then does it end with a shot of Smith in Zion? What the person he takes control of?
So this was the part that I couldn't remember exactly how we got, because I remember that it ended with them panning on, like, Neo is comatose on a table, and they pan over and you see that Bane.
Yes, Dom, he did.
Okay, you raised your hand and the bullets stopped.
Oh yeah, it does that.
Okay,
they'll go away. But yeah, prior to that, their ship breaks down or something, and they get out.
Mike grabbed one
and
of the
then
bullets and just was like,
just like slip that in.
Agent Thompson is the one that shoots Trinity, by the way.
Okay, so Thompson was the name of one of the agents. Go fig. Yeah, it ends. Their ship like breaks down, whatever. They have to get out. The Sentinels are coming, and then Neo's like, he stops them, but then he goes comatose. They pick him up, they put him on the table, and like, yeah, we found this other ship. When
there was only one survivor.
The ships were planning to do like attack the Sentinels. Someone set off an EMP early. There's only one survivor. This guy, and then ends on that
Bane,
Bane, and it's like dun 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 dun. But really, they play another Rage Against the Machine song.
Mm-hmm. So that brings us to the third and final movie of the original trilogy, which I don't have much to say because I think this movie is really bad. The Matrix Revolutions, which had a budget of $150 million. It came out in November of 2003. A quick 6-month jaunt from the second movie. What do we think? Where did this end up in the worldwide budget?
What would the last one get?
A lot. 700.
Like 750.
700.
I'll say 400. 420, bro.
Oh shit, Mike, what do you think?
I'm gonna say 5.
All right.
Yeah, I was thinking 5 too. I'll go.
It was panned across the board for like review.
I'll go 600. I'll go 600.
So this is the time where both Mike and Dom decide to go higher than Todd, and Todd almost nails the fucking number at 427.
Todd's got a gift. He's got a gift.
So
I was going to be 100. So I had to go up.
Yeah,
the reviews killed that movie quite a bit. Like,
I mean,
just like,
in my opinion, deservedly so.
I just figured that if $750 million worth of people went to see it 6 months earlier, then it should make somewhat similar money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not a good movie.
No, it was not. My guess is that like the box office for 2, maybe it had a good run. Like it probably had a good opening, but then it probably had like stabilized and had a good run. Where my guess is maybe Revolution had a good opening, and then people were like, "Oh, this movie's terrible," and then people stopped seeing it.
Word of mouth, yeah, exactly. Well, I was telling Brendan the other day about like there's some things I like the scene when Neo and Trinity are literally when they're shoot into like the clear sky. Like that's like I found that to be a cool scene. There's little things like that, but like that movie is just fucking like depression after depression. Like Neo loses his eyes. Trinity dies. You know, like it's like literally like you're just like, is anything gonna work out this way? You know,
I honestly think that they probably could have trimmed enough out of 2 and most of 3 and just made it one fucking movie. That's what I think they could have done. Is maybe not, because there's really a lot of exposition going on in these 2 movies, but I just feel like I really just hate
I think
Zion.
the War for Zion. I think the War for Zion had to be its own separate film.
But it was so bad. Everything. I don't give a fuck about these mech fights. They're so bad. Everything about that was so bad. It was not good.
You didn't care about any of the characters.
No, you don't.
There. Like you just don't care about it.
And I very nonchalantly, like I barely cared about Michael from Lost. What was his character's name?
I forget. He was like
the dozer of this movie.
Yeah.
Where he was the one that injected them into the Matrix.
Yeah.
Link?
Link?
Link.
Link has that. I don't know how the relationship is defined, but has a woman back in Zion.
I liked her. I liked her and the other chick.
She was you cared about them, and then like maybe you cared about the other kid that like wanted to fucking help. But like other than that, like
you didn't care about the general?
He was fine, but like I would have cared more if he wasn't just standing in a mech for fucking 30 minutes going like I don't need
that was the best part.
It was all sliced up.
I just don't need any of that. I just don't fucking need that. And I just don't knuckle up. I just don't like Commander Locke. And you're not supposed to. I get that, but like I just don't like him. And I think it was in this or I can't remember which one it was in. Again, these movies blend together in my head, but when like Niobe volunteers to go take the ship, that's in 3, right?
That's in 2.
I don't even fucking know.
Because
like,
that's in 3. That's in 3.
To take the ship?
No, never mind. Because go ahead. You're right.
Like that's a good scene.
She doesn't have her ship in 3.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Like that's a good scene. You kind of need that like defiance against Commander Locke and stuff. And like I did enjoy the council. Like I kind of wish there was more council and less of some of the other stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know because
council might have been the worst part of Zion.
No, because you know what the council is for me is like the council just immediately made me think of Mass Effect, where it's like you have like in Mass Effect, without getting into any spoilers or anything else, like you have this point of like they're not bad games at all. Like you are you're Commander Shepard, you're a Spectre. A Spectre is allowed to kind of like work outside of galaxy law. I don't know what the fuck, intergalactic law. You're basically allowed to do whatever the fuck you want without any repercussions. But you also kind of have to work hand in hand with the Council, which is like the governing bodies of like the major alien races. Which obviously that's not the exact same thing in here. In Zion, but like I like the idea of like you gotta deal with these like quote unquote like politician type people that are calling the shots here and like whatever. And I liked how there was the one that like believed in Morpheus and Neo and like wanted to oppose fucking like I didn't hate that dynamic. Those scenes are stupid and I like them. I don't know.
I will say
the movie fucking sucks.
Movie, it just sucks. It was a huge disappointment. I will say I like the idea that the robots needed Neo to, counteract
each other. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea. I just think the rest of the movie's so half-baked that, like, it's not really impactful. And, like, someone was saying the religious undertones, the way Neo dies, he's, like, basically like Christ, with his arms out, and everything. And
I mean, the first movie starts with the guy saying, hey, you're my own personal Jesus Christ. So, like, they weren't very subtle about this from the get-go.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of them going to the Machine City and having to go to the top and all this stuff, but like getting there wasn't that interesting, and like the set pieces weren't necessarily anything cool.
Yeah, like it was just...
It's like the idea and concepts of like these machines are harvesting humans for their energy.
Machines.
But like they outside of that, like it's kind of not really delved into more in the movie. But I didn't like that Trinity died at the end, and again, like without a 4th movie coming out at that time, Trinity is dead. And it was kind of sad to see Trinity go because I like Trinity as a character a lot. I did like how the end of it panned out, where it's like Todd said they're working, quote unquote, they need each other, and they inject him into the Matrix to fight Agent Smith. And I think overall, I enjoyed a lot of that fight scene between the two, but then there were some parts of it that were just like kind of like that scene where they're all fighting in a mob in 2. It's just like, all right, there's maybe too much happening here that isn't cool. Like, it's just like whatever.
To me, it was just like a live action Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it was anime as fuck.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I don't really know if I like Neo being able to fly, to be honest. I don't know if I need that. I don't know if I need that.
I mean, they didn't utilize it really that much until, I mean, to save Trinity in the second one. I mean, I feel like he didn't do it that much, but.
No, he didn't do it that. He did it a lot in that fucking fight.
But like, they wanted to separate him though from fucking like everything. Like, he's the one.
The dude can fucking stop bullets, and like he can fight an agent. Like, it's established very early and very clear in the first movie that
nobody can fight agents.
Exactly.
And everybody fights agents.
Yeah, but like nobody can actually fight agents though. Everyone that fights an agent gets fucked up.
The thing that they said in the first movie is nobody's lived to fight an agent.
Right.
And then
every agent run.
No,
those are the rules. If you see an agent run,
but
and then after that,
hold on.
Bring it.
Are there ever scenes where they're fighting agents and Neo isn't present though?
In which one? In 2? Because they fight agents on, like, Morpheus fights an agent on the truck there. For a while.
but Neo also has to get involved. I feel like
saves him, but I feel like prior to this, it was understood that maybe you could fight an agent, but you were going to lose. And I feel like even though
to be fair, Morpheus was going to lose that fight.
He was going to lose. I'm saying that the fight lasted longer than it should have, considering he was at a severe disadvantage as a human against an agent.
Mm-hmm.
And so then don't they make specific reference that Seraph has fought off agents before?
Seraph's kind of a fucking badass though, so I mean I'm fine with it.
I don't remember. He probably has given his position,
his role.
Yeah.
It just seemed like they said something to like make it be like, all right, you're like, if you can go up against agents, like you're the one.
Yeah.
And then it was like slowly like, yeah, Seraph fights off agents, and this guy fights off agents, and Morpheus is gonna go up against agents. It's like, all right, so what does the one mean anymore?
Maybe Neo gave him that confidence.
I mean, the one means you can fly and stop bullets and dodge bullets. Because I think that's the other thing too, is like you can't shoot an agent. You know what I mean? Like the agent always is dodging bullets. You can't shoot them. Yeah. And then when Neo is able to dodge bullets, like when he does, I think it's
goes into bullet time.
I think when he does that scene on the roof, he does that, but he still gets hit a little bit. And Trinity's like, "How did you do that? Like, how did you move that fast? I've never seen I've never seen like a not agent move that fast." And he's like, "Not fast enough." Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think Seraph was a dope character. Like, I feel like
I like Seraph. Yeah. I kind of liked the idea of like the train station too, and I feel like that was an idea that didn't really go far enough. I don't care about Train Man, but I liked the idea of that place. Does the movie ever explain what happens to that family? I know that a character. Okay, never mind.
Yes.
Okay.
4.
Yeah, but prior to 4, they do not, right? Like that concept leaves on a train.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't talk.
Wait, no. Yes, it is explained. Because Neo goes into the Oracle's house and Sati's there.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, cookies need love.
Yeah.
That was a great line.
So,
what have you done? And then Smith shows up. Cookies need love like everything does.
I mean, that's all I have to say about The Matrix Revolutions. I don't know if anyone else has anything else they want to add about that movie.
I feel like there was something I want to say. Oh, this is not super important, but Neo, I get that it's like out of the ordinary, but there is maybe one guy in the last 3 years that's been calling you Mr. Anderson the way Bane has done, and you're like, I don't know what's going on, man. What are you talking about?
I can't see.
Anderson, these meatbags stink. I don't. Who are you, Mr. Anderson? You and I. What? Like, come on. You're the one. Like, put it together.
I will say it was a very bizarre choice to have him have his eyes burned out.
Yeah, I hated it. I
Yeah.
hated that part of that movie. Like when I saw it originally, I fucking hated it, and I was. Just
I feel like there's probably some sort of either religious undertone to that or some sort of other like reasoning for it.
He was supposed to rely on the Matrix. He was supposed to rely on being able to see. I guess not the Matrix. He was supposed to be able to rely on seeing otherwise.
Yeah, his other sense.
That's why when they're flying over the machine city, he's like, below us, it's the feeding fields, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you know that?
Yeah.
I'm the one. But there was also, because Jen made me watch this too, because when I put on the fucking Justin Timberlake and Sean William Scott parody thing of The Matrix, she was like, oh, you have to watch the Sarah Jessica Parker one now too. Have you seen that one?
Wait, which one is it?
There's another MTV Movie Awards thing that is like Sex and the City and The Matrix, and that one must be for the first Matrix. Because that one parodies the first Matrix, but it was also pretty funny. It's pretty.
It can't be as good as.
I don't know. They have Jimmy Fallon playing Neo, and it's bad, but like bad in a good way. Like it's really bad.
You can do the robot with JT.
Do the pot. Do the naked pot.
Wait, did you guys watch Sense8? Whatever show, I think it was on Netflix.
Sense8? I didn't watch Sense8, no.
Okay.
That's also the Wachowskis.
Yeah, because I was just looking up who wrote Resurrections, and it's that dude and some other dude that have done little to no writing except for like Cloud Atlas.
So that wraps us on the Matrix original trilogy. Does anyone else have anything they want to add about the Matrix trilogy?
Do you think that's air you're breathing? That's all I had to add.
No, I think it's ergo, Mike.
All right, I'm not doing the next episode.
Hey, what was the tweet I sent the other day? Do you think shrimp cook? I forget what it was. It's like, do you think shrimp?
I think removing my thoughts on 4, if these 3 movies stood alone as themselves and there was no resurrections, I'd still be happy with the trilogy overall. I just think 3 is a very weak film.
I kind of look at it like the way I look at Game of Thrones in some regards, that like you had such a fucking awesome thing going, and then like the way it ended was just so subpar that it kind of takes away from something that was so good. I mean, I'll never talk bad about the original Matrix, and I liked Reloaded too, but like it's so tough to like a movie that's based off of 3 movies to have the conclusion of it be so poorly done. Just fucking taints so much of a good thing.
The final scene of the movie is it the machines backing off of Zion?
Oracle, isn't it? Wait, no, isn't
no? Isn't that the end? Isn't the end of the movie? The movie ends like that, right? Is that the final scene, or is there some other scene after at the end?
No, aren't they talking with the Oracle, and isn't it the architect?
Oh, that's right. Talking? Yes, that is a question I have, and if this is an answer for 4, then we will not answer it here. But she says to the architect, like, you have to let the others go. Who the fuck is she talking about? Or release the others?
I assume that she meant like everybody that was plugged into the
humans.
Yeah.
Oh, like unplug everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not okay. All right. I mean, that clearly didn't fucking happen. But
yeah, right.
Spoilers,
bro. We ruined them. You know.
Whoops. I mean, how are they fucking doing that without that? Is there anything else anyone wants to say about the Matrix movies?
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Yeah. That has been us talking about Matrix 1, Matrix Reloaded, and Matrix Revolution. They are. I still think, even though I think 2 and 3 are not great, I think they're all worth watching still. I think they're enjoyable enough. But if you just want to watch one, I think Matrix, again, can stand alone on itself as a very, very good piece of entertainment. Thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode 292 of the Pass Control Podcast. As always, if you want to find everything we do, you can go to passcontroller.io, Twitter and Instagram at passcontroller. You can find me at bgroom. You can find Mike at _MichaelPath, Todd at Toddy _by_nature, and Dom at PTC _one little spark. Until next time.